Hello, everyone. Welcome to Small Talk. Well, today's guest is going to be talking about 10 to a Room Productions. Here he is, Mark Rankin. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Hi, Nancy. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So now I know you're a singer, songwriter. Is that correct?
I'm not a singer. I'm a songwriter for sure. Yeah, but with my
Okay.
with my band, the Mojo Stars, are my songwriting partner, Randy Clark. He's a singer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what is 10 to a Room Productions?
Tenturin Productions is a digital marketing company that I run with a couple of friends of mine and my wife. We got into marketing during the pandemic, well, actually before the pandemic.
Mhm.
And so Tenturin Productions, essentially, we specialize mostly in videography. But we also do digital marketing for various people as well. But mostly it's filming for people.
Okay, so
Yeah.
give me an example of what that would be.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, oh, one of the fun ones that we did, we were up in the township of Lillooet during the summer last year, where the contract was to basically film their apricot festival, and then they also wanted interviews with all these sort of various elders of the community as well. And so our job is basically go up there, film everything, edit it up. We do our own music for the stuff, and uh, what do we do after? And then, that's the we present the finished work at the end. The biggest thing that we're doing though, Nancy, is during the marketing stuff, we also ended up doing a documentary as well. And that's the documentary that we've done on our the blues musician from Mississippi, James Super Chicken Johnson. So that's the main thing now that we do, is
How
this documentary.
exciting. That's exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure it is. Yeah,
So
yeah.
how did you get into that?
We brought him, so my band, the Mojo Stars, we brought him to Vancouver before the pandemic, I guess it was about 4 or 5 years ago now. And we did a bunch of shows. We did some shows at the Rio, Blue Frog Studios. And when he was here, there was a friend of mine in Toronto who suggested, he said, take a look at James Super Chicken and say, and he said he's a wonderful guy. He's a great musician. If you're ever looking to do some filming on him, he might be the main guy. And it was totally true. He was. So we started filming him when he was here in Vancouver. And then we were supposed to go to Mississippi. Then the pandemic happened. Once all the restrictions were lifted, myself and my co-director in the film, a guy called Brian Wilson, and a camera guy as well. We went to Mississippi, spent a week filming James, came back, did a bunch of editing, realized that we needed more. We went back to Mississippi again last year, did a whole bunch of filming again. And then we actually screened the film at the Clarksdale Film and Music Festival in January of this year. And it went great. It went really, really well. And then May the 17th, we're going to be screening the film at the Real Theater for the Canadian screening. And then we're going back to Mississippi in June. We've got like a week-long tour that we're doing with the film and with Super Chicken. So it's a whole bunch of stuff with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
it. Do you get
Mhm.
funding for that?
Yeah, for June we do. We got a grant from the Mississippi Humanities. Everything else has actually been our own money, if you can believe it. Everything's been self-funded for the actual filming and the editing and everything. We just did it ourselves. But that's actually, no, that's not totally true. Sorry, we did get some grant money for the second time we went to Mississippi. We did get some through Jackson State University because we went there and we had Super Chicken giving a sort of presentation about his life and music there. So we got some funding, not a lot. But June is fully funded. That tour that's going to be going through Mississippi is fully funded. So.
Very good. Yeah. So can you tell me about some of the other past filming that you've done?
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. Mostly a lot of short films. My wife and I, and my partner, Brian Wilson, for the documentary. We've done a lot of short films, and we got into a lot of festivals, which is nice. And the latest film that we did, was just shown last weekend here on the North Shore. There's a new festival that's set up through the North Shore News called the Coast Mountain Film Festival. and they had a what do you call it? Screenings at the K-Meet Theater and also the Centennial Theater. And our short film was shown last Saturday night at the Centennial Theater with some others. So
right?
yeah, but this is our first feature length. The documentary is our first, it's an hour and 20 minutes. It's the first
Okay.
long one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that required like
Mm.
people don't always know how much videotaping you actually do, right? And then
Mm.
have to edit it and to fit it in a certain kind of a format, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh
that's a
yeah. Yeah.
lot of work for editing.
It's, yeah, the editing takes a long time, and it's interesting as well, Nancy, because for the filming, I mean, it's hours and hours and hours. But it depends. Again, it depends on your budget. I mean, some filmmakers will take. It can be something like 100 hours of filming to 1 hour of actual, produced footage. We were a lot less than that because we just didn't have the luxury of that time. So we had organized a lot of stuff. I mean, in this film, we've got people from like Bobby Rush, quite a lot of famous blues players. So everything, Cedric Burnside, who's coming to Vancouver as well. We really had to make sure that everything was very organized and very ready to do that. So that, you know, you just, you're working around people's schedules. So you can't be like, oh, can you hang out for 3 hours while we just experiment? You can't. You got to have everything set up and, ready to go. And I found people in Mississippi were incredibly generous with their time, which is nice. Um, the whole thing is shot in Mississippi. The only person who's not actually from Mississippi that's in our film was Jim Burns. We interviewed Jim here in Vancouver because he's, being from St. Louis originally, and he's been to Mississippi quite a lot of times and his musical connection. So yeah, he's the only sort of Canadian in the whole film, actually.
Well, so
Yeah.
now let's talk a little bit more now about your band.
Sure, yeah.
Are you the one who started the band?
Well, I know. I mean, I guess in a way I did, but I mean, it was the band really came together. God, it's like 18 years ago, which is
Oh,
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, because my son is 17 and it was basically we started getting together just when my wife was pregnant. So it's also easy to remember how long we've been together. Um so yeah, I mean it was really me and my singer Randy. We got together and it took us a while to find the rest of the guys.
sure.
But we've been playing with our guys for quite a long time now. We've got Trevor Newman on bass, who used to play with Jerry Doucette for years. We've got Terry Hoff on drums. Before we had Lauren Etkin and Sean Susie, but Lauren got busy with other things and Sean moved away, and so Terry's come in, and we got Tom Gould on sax. So yeah, we've done a couple of recordings, we've toured around. Um, yeah, it's wonderful. It's great. We're playing at the Dudney Pub today on Sunday
Oh, no,
in Mission.
unfortunately, people won't see this until once you've been and gone.
For sure.
But
Yes, it will have been a good gig.
yeah, yeah,
We hope.
some great people. You got to get
Exactly.
live.
If
Uh,
anyone was there and watching this, I hope you enjoyed the
yeah, yeah. There you go. That's it.
band.
This because I was reading a little bit about on your Facebook page,
Yeah,
and it says some of the places you've lived. Zimbabwe.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
what took you there, and why, and how long?
That was my parents. My parents are from Scotland.
Oh,
And I lived there as well when I was young. But my parents actually immigrated to Zimbabwe. And they lived there and then they lived in Nigeria. So I was born in Zimbabwe. And then we also lived in Nigeria and also in Oman, which is
right.
beside Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that was just my parents. My father worked for a multinational company and wanted to travel and see things. They didn't want to stay in Scotland. So it was just a whole lot of travel. So yeah, so I lived in quite a lot of different places when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Mm.
how do like what now you settled in Vancouver, right?
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, I've been here for 20 years.
Hmm.
But yeah, before that, I was living in Japan for a few years. And that's where I met my wife. My wife was living in Japan as well. My wife is Japanese, but she'd been in England for many years as well. And then well, yeah, my parents had moved here. Oh, they've been here longer than me. I can't remember how long they've been here, but they moved out here, and I was back east, in near Toronto. I was in Waterloo, going to university. came here for a little bit. Then I went to Japan and lived there. And then my wife and I came here and settled here and doing stuff.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know you have a couple of websites if people want to get a hold of you or see
Yeah.
some of your what you have done, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. The best, I mean, it's if anyone's looking to come to our show on May the 17th, the best website to go to is mojostars.com.
okay.
That's got links right on the front page to get tickets and all information about what we're doing with Super Chicken from Mississippi. Because we're doing this show on the 17th. We're also going to Nanaimo on the 18th, then the Dudney Pub on the 19th, and then it looks like we're going to be playing at the Vernon Theater on the 20th with him. And then we're going over to Washington State and playing some shows with them there as well. So the website's kind of will detail that.
Mm.
The other website is 10 to a Room Productions, which if you just Google 10 to a Room Productions, it comes up. And that's got information about the filming that we do. And the third website is all about the documentary, which is the website is called alifeinblues.com. That's the title of the film, James Super Chicken Johnson, A Life in Blues.
Okay.
So the website is really just all about, the movie. It's got details about our shows, behind the scenes photographs, talks about all the musicians that are in the film as well. And what else is in it? It's also got James Super Chicken's discography, so it's all the albums that he's done there as well. So yeah, so 3 websites that are all out there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you, what style of music do you perform?
Good question, Nancy. I mean, I guess we're mostly blues rock. It's a lot of original stuff that we do, and we're blues influenced, hugely blues influenced, but we do kind of go away from it, and it's more into the rocky territory or into R&B, a little bit of soul, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say just blues rock is the best way to kind of.
I know that blues is so popular.
Yeah,
Was
yeah, no.
was it always popular?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I got into blues when I was like 13, 14 years old. And I think that's when Stevie Ray Vaughan first came out. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he sort of, no, he revolutionized it, but he drew so much more attention to it. And I don't know how good it was before then, but after Stevie Ray Vaughan, even talking to my guy, Super Chicken, he remembers, so he's in his 70s,
Right.
and he remembers when Stevie Ray Vaughan that whole time and he would have been in his, late 40s, early 50s. And that became a great time for him as well. His music became even more known. And I think partly is just because guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan and the who else would have come out of that time? Maybe Colin James as well, and Jeff Healey and all these guys really sort of, you know, made blues that much more popular
Right.
than before.
Excellent.
I think it's always been there. I think it's always really kind
Yeah.
of popular in its own way.
Yeah, I
Um,
just, more and more
mm,
musicians I speak to are getting into blues that maybe
mm.
weren't necessarily doing them before, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a great gateway as well. I mean, you get into blues and then you can get in, a lot of guys go into jazz. I mean,
Yes.
that's a good stepping stone as well.
Yeah.
Um, but it really is, it's the cornerstone of so much music. I mean, I guess like a lot of music as well. It's like it really, when I first heard blues, then it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I gotta listen to this. I don't think it does that for everyone. Like I grew up in a household, like my dad listened to lots of great music, but blues was not one of them.
Right.
He just never really came to him. So everything in the house would be like from jazz and classical to rock, but not blues. So I think certain niche musics like blues or something like punk or jazz, it really speaks to you, and you always just you always want to kind of listen to that music or eventually play it as well. So
Sure. Yeah. Well, this
yeah.
has been great. I really appreciate you speaking with me. It's really
Oh, so welcome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just stay on camera. I just want to remind the audience that you've been listening
Mhm.
to Mark Rankin. I'm going to share his website. So if you want to get a hold of him or just find out what type of thing he does and if something you're interested in. And another thing I want to say is that uh, anytime the bands perform, if you can get out to live music, it's so much more enjoyable than
Mhm.
listening to it online. I mean, it's nice to hear it on
Oh yeah.
Spotify and all those places, but in person,
Mm.
it's just special.
Totally. Nancy, that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So thank you, everybody. Hope you
Yeah.
continue to watch my show. Take care and peace out.
Excellent. Thanks again.